live and recording.
Namaskar and a very good afternoon. We are going to talk and learn about intellectual property rights. If you don't know what it means, I'm sure you're going to find it very interesting. And once you understand the power, you will be eager to exercise this right of intellectual property rights. Ideas are the, you can say, you can call it as the oil of this 21st century. Yes, we have a lot of ideas, but are you aware of how to monetize it? So let us understand this from one of our experts of IPR, Mr. Kunal Kamath Sarpal. Welcome, Kunal.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
A bit of information about Kunal. Kunal is a company secretary. He is a lawyer. He is a founder CEO of White Collar Legal LLP. He is also a clinical professor. He is a clinical professor at Flame University, Symbiosis, TISS. He is also a TEDx speaker and an ambassador of Ministry of Sports and Youth Affairs. So let us have this conversation on IPR from Mr. Kunal. Hello, Kunal, all set?
All set.
All set. Okay, I'll come to the basic questions first. Why do you call yourself a clinical professor?
So, clinical professor is a professor who is practicing and teaching at the same time. So, the word is derived from the medical jurisprudence of running your clinic. So, lawyers, just like any other profession, run their own clinical practice. And a professor who practices and also brings the industry to the classroom is known as a clinical professor. As a student, I always loved listening to professors who were actually practicing. And I had made
Right.
up my mind that whenever I start working on my own, whatever small limited experience I have, I will go and share it with the next generation of students. That is the logic behind it.
Perfect, perfect. For our viewers here, I'm going to ask some basic questions, and then once the wheels are in motion, then I would request all of you to please type in your questions, and we will ensure he will definitely answer you. Yes, my question is, what is the actual difference between invention and innovation?
Yeah, that's a very crucial difference actually. Intellectual property rights, which gives you a legal monopoly, only is applicable to inventions. And the main
Okay.
difference between both of them is when you invent something, you create something from scratch, from zero. But when you innovate something, you build on top of something that is existing. So basically, invention is 0 to 1, and invention is 1 and onwards. So here you need to conduct a proper search to find out that whatever you have created is an innovation or invention. Now, invention does not mean only radical invention. For example, you replace a candle with a bulb. Now, this is a radical innovation. Or you replace a horse with a car. This is a radical. But invention can also be something that is small and incremental.
Okay.
So even if your innovation is more than 75% original, which is substantially original, it will count as invention. So even though the nomenclatures are different, we should not look at them in an Oxford literal definition sense, but look at it from the legal sense, because legal jurisprudence evolves not just through laws, but it evolves through cases and the judge's interpretation. So current stand is this.
Okay. Okay. Actually, may I request that if you can share this example in layman terms, what I want to understand is, do I have to have a very phenomenal or huge, path-breaking idea? Only then I should register, or is there something which is going to make a difference? I can immediately register. So if you can just give me a day-to-day example.
Okay. Ideas need to basically do three things. They need to make something cheaper, they need to make something faster, or they need to bring more convenience through that product. That's the only thing. Now, a simple, small, so yeah, it need not be something radical. It can be a very small change, which can be exceptionally amazing. I'll give you an example of a person we are helping now, Vivek. Vivek is a student at Sandeep University in Nasik. What he has done is he understood that the bags have a center of gravity, and that is why the spine hurts, back hurts, school children are going through a hard time. So basically, he just changed the center of gravity to go along with your spine, to go along with the curvature of your spine. And because of that simple innovation, now it's become into a business model and is doing very well. A classic example of this is the staplers. For example, you don't know when it is going to end. So when you
Correct.
paint the last few staplers yellow and you understand that the yellow stapler means I have to change it. A small
Right.
thing like this is a patented invention now sold to larger staple companies like Stedler and Kangaroo and all of that. So I can give you numerous examples where something that's very small, which has become super big. I can give you another example.
Yes, please.
Another 22-year-old, very young client of mine, created a NFC and a Bluetooth. So existing technologies he combined, created a sticker of, and he put it on bags. The whole purpose of this was that when the bag will come to you on the conveyor belt, it will send you a missed call saying, Dr. Sangeeta, I am here, please pick me up. So the basic
Oh,
logic was that don't be fighting over there. You read a book, talk to a friend, listen to a music. The bag will call you when it comes. Now this is a very simple invention. It uses existing technologies, but the combination of these technologies becomes revolutionary. And that app sticker is now licensed by Etihad Airways. Now they pay him 50 per ticket, but they have before pandemic they had 12 lakh passengers almost every day. Now imagine 12 lakh passengers carrying three bags each into 50 paisa. It becomes a good amount of revenue. So it is not just big innovations, but small ones also matter a lot.
oh, that is fabulous. I particularly like the when you mentioned the yellow color for the staplers, which are when it's just about to end. I think that is fabulous. Great, great. A few more questions. Um, when you protect an idea, uh, whether it is trademark, patent, or copyright, when you protect an idea, maybe the purpose was A, but has it happened that somebody has used it for purpose B and monetized it as well?
Correct. Now, this is the beauty of IP. IP looks at businesses and the nature of what you do in terms of categories. So there are different classes under intellectual property. To give you an
Okay,
example, Book My Show is a very popular app and we have all used it. It is basically to book a seat in the movie theater. Now that
true.
same technology can be applied in a different industry. For example, book my parking or book my salon or book my lawyer. And that technology will be independent of the first one. So what basically you need to understand is you can take something that is efficient in one industry and
Hmm.
use it in another industry. So that's the beauty of IP. So here I want to, I mean, both of us have attended one session where Dr. Mukesh Batra was speaking, and there he said that checking into a five-star hotel is so beautiful. It takes less than 1 minute, and he took that technology and applied it in his hospital, which is a different kind of a category from a hotel to a medicine. So ideas are interchangeable if you are in a different industry. And to give you an example here, so there is a large company by Parle Distillery which sells. It's a market leader when it comes to packaged drinking water. I
Right.
can take that distillery brand and start a company called Distillery Shoes or Distillery Bags, pure leather bags. Because the
Oh,
category is different, the protection does not extend to all categories.
oh, oh. So that is amazing. So it can be a different class with the same name, right? Okay.
Yes.
So when we speak about protection, okay, the reason would be simple to monetize it or commercialize it. But has there been any instances where an idea was protected, but in spite of that, they have given it away freely, not with the intention of commercializing it,
A lot of cases. So
like?
typically, when an inventor, see, there is a lot of money, time, resources, effort, sweat that goes into creating something. And basically, why intellectual property is given is so that he recovers all this plus makes some profit. Otherwise, there will
Right.
be incentive left to invent. Now, in the
Correct.
question you had asked, if you have
Hmm.
seen how innovation has developed in the
Hmm.
early days, it was, for example, a person who has a lot of resources like Ford. He will have a lot
Hmm.
of money, lot of engineers, lot of sales, and therefore innovation was concentrated. If you
Hmm.
remember in our grandparents' time, you have to wait 6 months for a Bajaj scooter. So it is all concentrated. But if you look today, we have gone from closed innovation to open innovation. What
Hmm.
people have recognized today is that to solve very big problems, you only are not enough. To give you an example, Elon Musk
Hmm.
is a great example of this. He understood that we need a better transportation tool, and he came up with the idea for Hyperloop. But he said, I cannot solve this problem alone. So I will open my patent so that others also can come and become co-inventors, and together we can solve this problem. So that is one beauty. The other beauty is lot of pharma companies create drugs all the time. Once
Hmm.
they recover the amount that they have invested in the drugs, they open the patent so that many other generic drug manufacturers can copy the formula and give the drug in a cheaper price. So it really is like it is like a value system. Like Azim
Hmm.
Premji, Ratan Tata will
Hmm.
open the patent as soon as their cost is recovered, but somebody else might just monetize it till the life of the patent. So it really comes down to what kind of a person the entrepreneur is.
Okay, but you can do that.
Yes,
Perfect. Perfect. Now the term is intellectual property rights. So just like a tangible property, can we also lease out, give it on hire? And since this is intangible, say for example, if I have a house, I can lease it out only to one entity. But in case of an idea, since it is not seen, it's intangible. So can I lease out to many people for a specific period or for a specific purpose?
correct. So the answer is yes. The
Hmm.
reason why it's called property is because it can be bought, sold, rented, assigned. You can also pass it on to the next generation through a will. So all of that is the only thing it does not have is it cannot be touched and felt, like you rightly mentioned. It is intangible, like goodwill. It's intangible. Now, the second thing you mentioned was also very correct that a house, you can have a X number of tenants living there. But for a
Hmm.
IP, for example, if I'm a company who created the Tally software, or if I'm Microsoft who has created MS Office, I
Hmm.
have no limit to how many people I license my product to. If you look at Amazon today, Amazon people think that e-commerce is the main source of revenue, but main
Right.
source is also Amazon Web Services, which it had created for their own use. But then they realized that the infrastructure they have created might be useful for so many people, and then they open the technology to many people. Today, Amazon Web Services brings in as much revenue as the e-commerce side. So basically, there is no limit to the amount of people who can rent out your technology or license your technology.
Hmm. So, like you get a licensee fee. What is that jargon when you lease out your idea? What is that jargon?
So the jargon can be it's a royalty payment that you need to make. If it is a product IP, if it is a service IP, you need to make a license fee. So you can call it in different ways. For example, when Honda gave its technology to Hero, when they
Hmm.
initially came, because Hero did not have technology, but Hero had a lot of dealership networks. That time it was
Hmm.
called as a technology transfer agreement. So the nomenclature keeps changing, but the logic remains same.
Okay, okay. Now that you mentioned the word royalty, I was just recollecting a viral video where we had Dr. Palash Sen, who is a very renowned songwriter and musician. He was actually waving a check of 20,000 rupees and he was so elated. So, why was he so elated with a royalty? Simple. Could you please explain?
Sure. So since I've seen the video, I can answer that. Most of the artists, most of us actually, are
Hmm.
trading time for money. If you're doing a job, you do 8 hours and you get a salary, or you are trading a product or a service for money. So
Correct.
if you go to Gujarat or Rajasthan, they will sell you a product and they recover cost plus margin. Or in a
Hmm.
service, I will charge you for the time I'm giving you.
Hmm.
Now, in Palash's case, that 20,000 rupees that he got was for a song that he created 10 years back. Now, in case of artists, if see now Mr. S.P. Balasubramanian recently passed away, but we will listen to his songs for next 50 years, next 100 years also. So that is the beauty of inventors. They create something that can outlive them in a big way. If you look at people like Michael Jackson also, they are still sitting as one of the top 10 richest celebrities, whereas he has passed away 15 years back. So how is that possible? That every time their song is played, every time their song is heard on Spotify, there is a certain amount that the company is taking from the customer, and out of that, a certain amount that is being passed to the artist. So that is why Palash is very happy that that 20,000 check did not come from a direct performance, but it came as a passive income from something he created 10 years back. So there are so many examples, and sadly, in our country, this culture is not there. From Lata Mangeshkar to Arjit Singh today, they all prefer taking 1 crore rupees upfront. They forget crore will not be worth 1 crore 20 years from now. But the song, Tum Hi Ho or whatever, that will still be playing. A very good example here is Friends. Netflix recently paid $100 million to the makers of Friends. Why? Because people still want to watch it. All the actors in Friends are receiving $20 million every year because they had acted in Friends. So my point is, if you're truly going to create something that is going to last for a long time, please don't take an upfront amount. Please don't kill the chicken that is laying the golden eggs. Nurture that chicken, get into a licensing deal.
Oh, this is wonderful that that posthumous also, like you mentioned Michael Jackson. So even after I'm dead and gone, whoever is my successor will continue to get the royalty for it. Just a question: how long does a successor continue to get the royalty?
So the term of intellectual property varies from property to property, and it is very logical. If you see, I am Leonardo da Vinci and I create the Mona Lisa. The Mona Lisa is going to be relevant for a long time. That is why the copyright you get is 60 years after the death of the author. So it's a very long time. If you look at a patent, it is granted for only 10 years. Why? Because technology gets outdated very fast. If you look at the phone that both of us are using, mine is the latest phone, even yours is the latest phone. But in 6 months, it will get outdated. So basically, the term is given based on the life of the intellectual property. Again, one example here. If you look at the book Wings of Fire written by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, I don't think it will lose its relevance in 100 years also.
Never.
So that is the logic. So till your intellectual property is alive, till it's not expired, your successors can take the revenue or monetize it.
Oh, but can the successor also will it to his kids as a successor, and then that continues forever?
Yes. I'll give you one very interesting example that everybody would love.
Yes.
One of my clients in students in TISS, Tata Institute of Social Sciences, was a 60-year-old student called Vandit Kumar. He was a writer for a lot of copywriter and all of that. His father was Mr. Ved Pal, who was also a copywriter. In 1960 to 70, that era, Nirma was born. Karsan Bhai Patel started Nirma. For the jingle, which is very popular now, washing powder, Nirma, that jingle, it has not been changed since inception. It is the same.
Right.
Now, this song was written by Mr. Ved Pal, and Ved Pal had studied in Europe, so he knew a little bit of how intellectual property works. So rather than taking 10,000 rupees that time, which was a big amount, he said, give me 500 rupees per year and increase 10% every year.
Wow. Okay.
Now, the power of compounding is so strong that today the family is getting lakhs of rupees per month for a song that was written in the 1960s, a jingle, because Nirma continues to use the jingle. So what I'm trying to say is a good way to break the rat race, break the race from paying bills and all of that, is to create something like the Nirma jingle, which will take care of it. Is like a fourth child who continues to live all his life till he expires.
Oh, this is amazing. Now there are so many questions I'm getting to every example. For example, First of all, when you mentioned the patent, that patent will go as long as there is a new thing happening for that particular product. I think
Yes.
that is why Mr. Bill Gates had said that a patent has got a shelf life of a banana. So the
Yes.
moment, I think that helps you to innovate and add
Yes.
on new versions. Okay, right. But one more question which I was thinking is, you mentioned about the Nirma jingle. So does the copyright work? For example, washing powder Nirma, I just change the lyrics or change the jingle. So if I don't want to continue to give royalty to this gentleman, so how much I have to tweak in? I know that's a very shrewd question, but how much do I tweak in so that I don't have to give royalty continuously?
So I get this question typically in Western India when I go to Gujarat. This is the kind of questions I get. So the answer is the judge
Okay.
is a very simple test. What he will ask is,
Hmm.
can a reasonable man get confused between the original and the duplicate? If the
Okay.
answer is yes, that means it is copied. So basically, if you want to copy somebody's intellectual property, you can't make an aesthetic difference and copy it. You need to make a functional difference and copy it. So if you just change Rekha, Sushma, and to Sangeeta and something, it will not work because
Oh,
it is an aesthetic difference, not a functional difference.
okay. Has there been any example where a functional difference has been made and it worked?
In a lot of cases. So if you look at an invention like Bluetooth, for example, which was actually
Hmm.
going to fade away, now
Hmm.
it has gone through the headsets kind of a technology and it has come back to the market. So
Hmm.
basically, how you exploit a certain technology which is available is completely up to you. One of the great technologies we have now in India is the NPCI technology, where you can pay through UPI. Now, this is so
Yeah.
good that even a banana vendor or a pani puri guy, you can pay through digital wallets. Now, the next level of innovation here is you can pay him offline. Even if you don't have internet, you can transfer the money. Now, I'm saying all this infrastructure was already there, technology
Right.
was already there, but finding a new utility of an existing technology is also very, very useful.
This is getting crazier actually. In fact, it is so crazy that it is very interesting. And we can see the power of IPR with every example. You mentioned that the person who created the jingle for Nirma was in Europe then and knew the power of, copywriting it. But
Yes.
suddenly now the new economy places a lot of value on IPR. So why is it getting so relevant suddenly now?
It's a very good question. Now, IP was concentrated with people who knew about this, who have a good worldwide exposure. And if you look at companies like General Electric, which was started by Thomas Edison, or look at companies like IBM, you will see a culture of filing patents and innovations. It is not
Hmm.
something. Why it has got so much of momentum now is the answer is very simple. For Amazon to be successful, all of us needed to have computers. All of us needed to have a
Right.
good internet connection. All of us needed to have a good logistical connection through DHL, FedEx, and all of that. And that is why the entire business model was possible. To innovate, earlier what you needed a big lab, you needed a factory, you needed a lot of people, all of that. Today, what has happened is all of that heavy infrastructure is democratized. For me to create a mobile application, I can just go to Upwork. I can hire a software developer sitting in Sri Lanka or in Mongolia. He can create it for as less as 25,000 rupees. So basically, why it has become so popular now is anybody can become an inventor. And if you look at the top 10 companies today, lot of them
Hmm.
do not have any physical assets. A company like Uber, for example, most
Hmm.
valuable company, does not own a single car. It is just the software that is getting the valuation. Oyo, which is the largest hotel chain, has no assets, but a software that is getting the valuation. So my point
Right.
is creating that IP, creating that software is not very difficult. And that is why it is now gaining a lot of momentum. Because people who don't have money but who have intellectual capital can become the next Mark Zuckerberg.
Super, super. Before I take the next barrel of questions, I will just say hello to all our viewers. Thank you, Vaishali Borle, for joining. Thank you, Mrs. Chaitali Kavade. Thank you, Anil Ji. Thank you, Anil Garg. Thank you, Rachna. You're true to your words. Thank you, Mr. Raju Iyer. Thank you, Deepa Pai. Thank you, Arjuna. Thank you, Bhavna, Sunita Kulkarni, uh, Kalpana Jadhav. Thank you so very much. A question from Mr. Anil Garg here. What is the relationship between an IPR for a product or idea and a domain name booked on internet?
So domain, the logic remains same on a fundamental level. In domain name, I'll give you a few examples because examples tend to stick with us. If you look at Alibaba.com, it was bought by a Canadian student for a few dollars, $5 or $6. He bought it, .com he had bought it. Now, when the Chinese conglomerate started, Jack Ma started it, he wanted Alibaba.com because he wanted to create it into a global e-commerce store. He had to
Right.
buy that from the Canadian student for around 40 crore rupees. So what is this is called as domain name squatting. You squat over a domain name till it becomes valuable. If you remember that our fighter pilot Abhinandan had gone to Pakistan, he was caught and everything.
Right.
The moment that happened, immediately a lot of filmmakers went and started registering film scripts called Abhinandan. Abhinandan goes to Pakistan. So this is
Right.
nothing.
Right. Right.
And a lot of people who got this registered were not film people. It was people like you and me who are squatting over it. That when Karan Johar wants it, I will sell him to it for 2 crore rupees.
Oh.
So the logic remains very similar for domain names, for intellectual property, and for real estate also. I remember there was a person, both of us know, who used to buy real estate only at the token stage. You will keep a token, as the value increases, you sell it to a different person. So it works on the same way, which also brings me to another important point that for IP to have value, you need not actually add any value. To give you an example, if I am Karan Johar and if I see Mary Kom fighting on the boxing championship, and the
Right.
commentator is saying that, oh, this is a mother of two twins. She is 37 years old. She's just 4 feet 8 inch, and she's fighting a 6'3" Russian girl. I will understand that this is a very inspiring story, and I want to make a biopic. I will
Right.
send my team from Dharma to Mary Kom. I will say, please give us the rights to make your movie. Mary Kom will be very happy that she's a fan of Kuch Kuch Hota Hai. She knows Karan Johar. So she gives the rights for 25 lakh rupees, which is a big amount for a sportsman like her. Now, Karan Johar never really wanted to make biopics. Biopics is not his forte. What he will do, he will call Rakesh Om Prakash Mehra. He will say, I have the rights to make Mary Kom. Would you like to make it? He will say, yes, I would like to make. Karan Johar will sell that rights to him for 50 crore rupees. 25 to 50 crore. Now, Rakesh will make the movie, sell it to UTV for 100 crores. UTV will make the movie, make 500 crores. Priyanka Chopra, who played Mary Kom, earned 6 crore rupees as fees, whereas actual Mary Kom earned 25 lakhs. So basically,
Oh.
how it changes hands also brings a lot of value in case of IP.
So, if say I'm Mary Com, and instead of giving it away, my story for 25 lakhs or 25 crores, and I know that this is going to be escalated and changing of hands will yield more and more. So, can I add a clause that every time it changes hand, I get something out of it?
No, what you should do as Mary Kom is what Rajinikanth does or what Salman Khan does. You should say, whatever my rights make, I will take 15% of that.
Oh.
So
Oh.
automatically, as the movie makes money, as it changes hands, as the value of the rights increases, her 15% is a variable percentage. That also increases.
Were you the advisor of Mary Com?
Sadly, not. That is why she only got 25.
Ah, okay. Now you mentioned the word Scott. With every word that is interesting, I get a new question. So my question is, see, like we do an advance booking, okay? So I have an idea of a product, but I really don't have a say prototype for it. So can I book an idea even though don't have the entire framework on paper, or I don't have a prototype, but I have an idea. And before somebody takes it, I want to protect it. So, how does that work?
That's a fantastic question. I'll give you an example. Since you made reservation, I'll give you a reservation example.
Hmm.
When you go and ask for a Tatkal train ticket, what it means is an emergency train ticket at a higher price. Sadly, we do not have a Tatkal system for airlines.
Hmm.
Now, if you decide that airlines, I want to create a Tatkal booking system, what you need to do
Hmm.
is you need to create a software flow chart as to how the software will work. The wireframe, the backend needs to be created by you. After you
Okay.
create that, you can get a provisional level of a software patent. Now you have the provisional patent, it is valid for a certain duration. You can go in the market and pitch that this is my idea, it is blocked in my name, and raise an investment, create a software development team, go to Indigo and sell it. All the and as soon as that will get published, airlines will start contacting you easily. So that is how
Okay.
beautiful IP is, that you don't have to create the actual prototype also. Even on paper, if you have what it is and how it works, it is enough.
But how do I ensure that it reaches the right person? For example, let us take the Karan Johar story. Okay, now XYZ had to actually call Om Prakash ji to say that I have the rights of Americom. But is there a engine, search engine, especially if I say I want to invest in all wonderful products coming in technology? So is there a place where I can actually go and hunt that what things are available?
Sadly, this is my dream that there should be a stock exchange for ideas where
Hmm.
on one side inventors are sitting with their bouquet of ideas, and on the other
Hmm.
side investors are sitting with their investment amounts. Sadly, it is not there
Hmm.
currently. How it is happening is similar to a franchisee business. Most of the
Hmm.
franchisee chains are grown by the customers who enjoy eating that food. So
Hmm.
similarly, if I enjoy using a certain app, and I will say, can I have the license to this technology for Europe, for Germany, for Japan? That's how it grows, through word of mouth. And it's a very small field, and if you're a very good technology, it's hard to remain under the shadows, it's hard to remain incognito.
Oh, it is hard to remain incognito. So we have a question from Devika Menon. She is asking about how to register an idea internationally. So I was about to ask you a question. There are the IPR laws different in different countries, and how soon are they amended, or which country has the best IPR, provision, so that it actually encourages everybody to have innovations and boost the economy.
Correct. Good, very good question. So, firstly, IP is national, jurisdictional. When you get a patent for India, the protection will exceed only to India.
Hmm.
And therefore, if you come out with a product patent, if you come out with a product, it's very essential that you register it in product intensive countries like China, Luxembourg, which have a very production intensive capacity. If you're a technology
Hmm.
company like a mobile application, it is recommended that you register internationally, because a mobile is geography agnostic, a technology product. Once it's on the
Hmm.
app store, anybody can download it and use it. So based on
Right.
what product or what service you give, you need to register in those countries. An example
Hmm.
here, if you are creating Fair and Lovely cream, it is
Hmm.
important that you register it in only countries which have dark skinned people. Otherwise, if
Hmm.
you register internationally, all your fees paid for UK, US, Canada, Russia is waste. Europe is waste. So that is the logic of jurisdiction. The second is what the question was asked internationally. Now, because IP crosses over to many countries, there are a lot
Hmm.
of treaties that have been signed by a lot of countries. So there is a
Hmm.
patent cooperation treaty, there is a Brussels treaty, there is a Madrid treaty. All these treaties are basically saying that if one person has protection in one country, he will get a reciprocal protection in the other country. At the
No,
same
no,
time,
come again. I would like to understand this point again. Yes.
he will have a reciprocal protection in the other country. To give you an example, we have an extradition treaty with UK. That if our criminal goes to you, you send him back. Your criminal comes to us, we will send him back. So IP works in the same logic. At the same time, because Indian laws are weak, that is why brain drain keeps happening. Uh, our laws are not very strong when it comes to protecting inventor interest. What I also recommend, the strongest laws as on date are European laws. Even the World Intellectual Property Organization sits in Geneva in Switzerland. So those are the strongest. So if you register in Europe as an international patent, you'll be super strong. Even the US patent laws are extremely strong. So even there you can register. And the best part is we can sit in India and file all these applications protecting your invention in all these countries.
Supposing a person doesn't have the idea whether this is good enough to register internationally, okay? I may have an idea, but I don't know how well it will be received throughout the world. So, like you mentioned, a provisional, you know, copyright or a provisional protection. Can we have a provisional international protection also?
So, when you file a provisional application, you get provisional protection. The provisional application lapses within 1 year of filing if you don't file the prototype, if you don't file the final application. So you need to, follow it up with an actual prototype. Otherwise, the application will be abandoned. It will be lost.
Okay. Okay.
One point here. Why is provisional registration granted? Because in patents and designs, it is the person who's treated as an inventor is a person who files first, not who invents first. So basically, if you file a provisional application today on 25th September, for example,
yeah,
your registration is granted in August of next year, your certificate will be issued as on 25th September. So your protection begins the moment you file.
Okay. Okay. Oh, you mentioned that the rights go to the person who registers and not the person who gets the idea. So it is purely like finders keeper and losers weeper.
Yeah, if you snooze, you lose.
Oh, but for example, I have an idea, and for some reason I did not protect it right away, and then somebody, took that idea up and registered it. So I lose it totally. Is there no way I can go and say this was my idea?
No.
No way.
No.
Even if I've got witnesses or backup or something about it.
In patents and in designs, no. In trademarks and copyrights, it is not the person who files first. It is the person who's the prior user. For example,
can you please share example?
Yeah. Natural ice creams is a very popular brand in India. Suppose they don't have a trademark. What I will do, I will file a trademark. It will get granted also. But if Naturals proves that we are using this marks in 1991, my registration will be withdrawn and it will be given to the rightful user who's using it since 91. So in trademarks and copyright, it is the prior user. In patents and designs, it is the first filer. So there is a distinction.
Okay. Now, coming to this example of natural only, may I continue to ask you questions? May I continue?
Yes.
Yes. So, since you mentioned natural ice cream and you said that, they can say that we were using this trademark since 1991. So, has there to be a period which is defined that it has to be 3 years, 5 years, 2 months, 1 day, 24 hours to show that this is mine?
So it's basically a race of who was there earlier. So if I register Naturals brand in 91 and somebody else that I'm using Naturals since 86, it will go to him. So it is basically the prior user who will get the trademark or the copyright. Therefore, if registration is not conclusive proof, if at any time there is any person who says that, oh, I was using Swayambhu since 1990, then your registration will be taken and it will be given to that person.
Oh. Now this is getting crazier and crazier. A few more questions coming in. That has there been instances and examples that somebody did not register and lost it totally, but you know the person who has lost it? Can you
Yeah,
share some examples?
I will not take names, but it has
Yes.
happened in many cases where
Hmm.
a factory comes out with a revolutionary technology which helps them reduce the cost, which helps them, uh, give the product in a better manner to the customer. And then one of the
Right.
core team members leaves that factory and joins a competitor, and then the competitor files the patent. So these people then lose it. So there are many cases. So because IP is still treated as a cost, whereas
Hmm.
actually investment. That is why I keep saying that please look at the new age companies that are there today. All of
Hmm.
them, the moment every meeting ends, they will file an IP. I'll give you one very good example to understand this.
Hmm.
Some examples from our Bangalore-based clients. So in
Hmm.
Bangalore, the culture of creating companies is very unique. They look
Hmm.
at large companies like Facebook, Amazon, and all, and they say, what is it that is missing in these companies? We will
Hmm.
create that technology and patent it. So
Hmm.
that when they want to do it, they will have to mandatorily come to us. I'll give you an
Hmm.
example. Now, because of the pandemic, we are not able to go and shop and do all of that.
Right.
So one of the Bangalore-based companies sends one person at home. He creates your 3D avatar like you are exactly, and your 3D avatar can try the clothes. So it is like you trying them on.
Correct.
Now, this is a very fantastic technology. Who wants this? Mintra wants, Algeo wants, Facebook wants, everybody wants. So basically, this is a new way of technology. Because if Amazon wants to create the 3D avatar, it will take them 1 hour to do it.
Hmm.
We have the software developers, they have the money, they have the branding, they have marketing budgets, everything. But just
Hmm.
because somebody else has a legal monopoly over it, a patent over it, they have to compulsorily go through this person, either license it or acquire that company.
Okay, okay. Now the examples which you are sharing, I have got multiple questions from our viewers. So thank you, viewers. Keep going, keep typing. I'm going to ask questions from our viewers now. So a question from Supriya Naik Prabhu: Can my invention be patented even after public display?
Yeah, that's a good question. For an invention to be patented, there are multiple conditions. One of the
Hmm,
major conditions is novelty. Novelty
hmm,
basically says that it should be something that is not there in the public domain.
hmm,
Therefore, if you publish your idea before patenting, the chances of it getting patented reduce by 95% because the
hmm,
software which does the novelty search scans everything. So your
hmm,
idea should not come in that. So my recommendation to everybody is that if you're having some prototype, some invention, do not put it in the public domain, number one. Number two, do not use public servers. Do not use Gmail and WhatsApp because these people are reading your chats and everything. So use pen and paper. Be old school. Do not connect it to the internet because Google, every time you search something which is not there, Google in the back end is registering it. So please
Oh,
be careful.
oh, that is wonderful insight. So old school rocks. Okay, another question coming
So
from
one,
Miss Rachna Lachke Bagwe. Yeah, you're saying something.
no, so there is a good example to understand why old school is good. If you see the airline industry, it used to take, the grandparents 3 hours to go from Pune to Delhi. It takes
Hmm,
us also 3 hours to go. Why has there been no development? Because when the supersonic plane was created and it was flying from Abu Dhabi to France, somebody hacked it from his smartphone and turned the plane. And at supersonic levels, that turning caused a blast. And they stopped all research when it came to plane technology. And so basically, you can hack into a Tesla car, but you can't hack into a Maruti Alto. So that is why sometimes an old school is better.
Ah, super example, super example. I want to protect this now. Thought. And there is a question from Rachna Lachke Bagre. She says, how about articles and write ups? How to protect them?
So sadly, the culture in many countries is a copycat culture. If you look at the companies also that we have, Oyo is a copy of a company, Flipkart is a copy of a company. So we did our assignments in school by copying. We are doing entrepreneurship by copying. It's not bad, but I'm telling you the culture. Now, in case of content, let me give you an example of Anthony Robbins, who's a big guy, motivational guy. He runs a program called Awakening the Giant. Now, this program is very expensive. It's a $15,000 program. He takes people somewhere in Australia or some other place, and for 15-20 days, he has a program. Now, what he has done is his title, Awakening the Giant, his schedule for every day, minute to minute, everything is registered by him under his name. Anybody who tries to copy that gets a legal notice from him. So basically, and he can't do so many programs. So what he does is he says, Kunal, you're a great speaker, you're a great motivational person. Why don't you license my program? Like Dale Carnegie and many others. So content it originally created, originally structured, and originally registered can become a very good licensing method. It is like a book, right? If you write a good book, an original book, you can make a lot of money through the royalty payments. I always use this example of a person we both know, Nancy Katyal and her daughter Ishita, who wrote a book, Simran's Diary, in her early teenage, and the book is doing so well. She got so many opportunities. She gets a royalty payment from it. So content is absolute king. You can look at J.K. Rowling also, who created the Harry Potter series. She wrote the books. The books led to merchandise. The book led to movie. The book now is leading to a Netflix series. Now she's worth $3 billion. 1 billion is 7,000 crore. 7 threes are 21,000 crore is her value. So content is literally king.
You mentioned about this young girl. So have I to be about 20 to file a copyright?
You need to be
Or
a
somebody
member.
else can do it on my behalf, my guardian or parent?
Yeah, that's possible. Your guardian, your parent, or there is a term in legal called your next friend. Anybody who is a major and who wants to represent you can file on your behalf. Once you are 18, you can assume ownership of the work.
Okay. So it will be taken. It will be understood by default that once Miss Katyal is 18, automatically the rights will go to her. It is by default. There is no need to specify that.
So she has an option whether to keep it in her mother's name or to assume it. So it is up to the person.
Okay. A question from Mrs. Deepa Pradeep Pai. Is it necessary to copyright our designs as well?
Yeah. So design, to understand it, are you referring to a logo? Are you referring to a mold that you have created? Because in intellectual property, design refers to a mold or an aesthetic, not a logo or a graphic design. The understanding is a little different. So I'll answer in both cases. Suppose you create a design which gives your product an aesthetic difference. For example, people who are illiterate or people who do not, go with the tagline, they look at a product through a color scheme combination and the design combination. For Bisleri example only, a green bottle with a certain design is automatically Bisleri. Or when they eat gutka, the Vimal design, color scheme, all that makes a difference. So yes, it is supposed to be registered. And when it comes to logos and those kind of designs also, if you look at large brands, they will follow a consistent design pattern and they will register all of it. So yes, designs are important. Which brings me to another main point is a single product can have multiple intellectual property. To give you an example, the phone I am using is OnePlus 7 Pro. OnePlus 7 Pro is a trademark of OnePlus. The design of this phone, the mold is also registered with OnePlus. The technology that runs the phone in the background is a patent of OnePlus. The camera coming out is also, so basically a car will have more than 400 IPs. A phone will have 100 IPs. It is not isolated, they work in combination.
Okay. Okay, that is wonderful. Now we have a question from Mrs. Sudha Narayanan. I have so many business ideas, but before I implement, I can find somebody already doing it. How do I register my ideas as my IP? Coming to this question and to go on further, is there a roadmap, to understand what is the sequence? Like you mentioned the topic that idea to IPO. So I don't want to forget that topic. So continuing her question, I want to understand what is the roadmap or the sequence I need to follow if I want my idea to be protected and take it to the level of an IPO.
All right. I'll give you one example of what I would do. Suppose I want to create a mobile application which collects donations and gives it to widows of army men. This is a simple
Right.
mobile application. Now, I am not a technical person. I'm not a software person. I don't have a science background. So, what I will do is, I will hire a person who knows all this, a software developer and all of that. I will create it on paper first. I've created it. I will put it through a search process. I will approach the nearest patent lawyer. I will go to him and I will say, can you do a novelty search for this? I will novelty search and I will tell you whether this app is already there or whether you can register it. Once that is done, you will get a provisional registration. If it is inventive, if it is original enough. Now, once you have provisional registration, either you can go and raise investment to make the app, or you can sell it to somebody who wants to work on this. Now, if you decide to go ahead with it yourself, you will raise some money, create the mobile application, we will submit that mobile application, and it will become a patented product of yours. So, patent has two benefits. One is others can't copy it, and two, if they want to copy it, they have to go through you and pay you some fees or something like that. So, this process is followed in everything. In my case, also, White Collar Legal, I owned it internationally in 154 countries. I spent around 2 lakh rupees protecting it. The reason for protecting it was that when I open a branch tomorrow, I don't want anybody else to register it. That was the intention. But couple of years later, when another White Collar Legal came in UK, in Liverpool, I had a very good moment. I was preparing my certificate. I made the legal notice and I was going to send it to Philip. Philip Naam is his name. Immediately, my mentor, Mr. Uday Gujar, said, wait for some time, let him use the brand, let him spend on the brand. And after that, I sent the notice. Now, his reply came saying that I have already used the name. The name is very popular. I've got all my licenses in this name. Can you please work something out? And now we are charging a certain percentage to Philip every month for his turnover so that he uses our name. And I will use this for 10 years and I will keep renewing the trademark. So basically, this is how the process works. It is a negative that you get, not a positive, right? You need to keep your ears to the ground. You need to see who is copying it. You need to send them a notice and then work out a deal with them. Just because you have a patent does not mean, like a magnet, money will start coming to you. Because that is the approach most people take. They apply for a patent is granted, it becomes a CV item or it becomes a frame on the wall. People don't know how to monetize it. And that is why I'm very proud to share that we were one of the first firms in India who went one step ahead of registration and started helping clients to monetize their IP.
Okay. Now you mentioned that you will have to track it. So it is not possible that I continue tracking my, ideas. Say I have got multiple ideas which I have copyrighted or protected, but it is not possible for me, in reality, or not feasible for me to track who is copying my content, how to go about. How does this tracking thing work?
Very good question. So if you look at a person like A.R. Rahman, who creates very good songs, he cannot track that, okay, in Bavdan there is a party going on and my song is being played. Or in Chennai, some function is going on and my song is being played. So in such cases, companies like T Series come in. So T
Hmm.
Series basically takes the job of distributing your IP, distributing your content, and
Hmm.
whatever it distributes, Ghana, Spotify, YouTube, whatever revenue
Hmm.
it gets on your song, it will share 20% with you. So AR Rahman, what is he thinking? My job and my forte is creating music. I will stick to it. The Vasuli part, I will give it to TCS. So TCS is basically a Vasuli
Ah.
for the artists. So I always say we need one T series in every industry, in mechanical inventions industry, in artists, art industry, in every industry we need a T series. How we are helping clients is I have a dedicated team in the office who keeps
Hmm.
checking trademark journal, patent journal, who keeps looking at news, and their job is same. If something which is registered by our client is also being registered, we will object to it. That's how we do it.
Okay.
And one more thing,
Hmm.
if I am Ketan Bhagat and if I've written a book and there is a
Hmm.
person selling the book locally, on FC Road or on
Hmm.
Kolaba Road, I cannot send a notice to him. So
Hmm.
intellectual property is not a B2C business, it's a B2B
Hmm.
business.
Hmm.
If whoever sells my book without my permission, I will send them an intellectual property notice. But I can't sell
Hmm.
it to street vendor. So I hope
Hmm.
you understand that you have to
Hmm.
pray that your designs, your IP is copied by a big company, not a
Hmm.
very small one.
Okay, so may not be very directly connected, but this will be like mob lynching. So if you have, this fellow is the culprit, it is fine. But if there are many faces, then you can't really do anything about it.
No, so there is
Hmm.
actually a court order that you can get when you don't know who
Hmm.
is copying your ID. The court order is
Hmm.
called a John Doe order. A
No,
John Doe.
I didn't get you. Once again, once again.
So, for example, like I said, I'm an author. I'm J.K. Rowling, and I don't know how many people are copying my Harry Potter franchisee. I will
Hmm.
take a John Doe order. John Doe.
Hmm.
Now, John Doe order is basically an order where you don't know the face of the person who's copying it. It is like a zero FIR. So, the law has provisions for everything.
Whoa, this is amazing. So I can actually outsource, to XYZ who can track my work. So that is amazing. A question from Arjuna Shivangi here. Are there ways in which intellectual property rights or the royalty system can be negatively exploited? What are some things that an inventor should be careful about while registering their idea or product?
Yeah, so this is a strategic level question. Now, I'll give you
Hmm.
an example for you to understand. For
Hmm.
all of you, when you are getting an IP, you are getting the IP for a complete disclosure. So it is
Hmm.
100% disclosure for 100% protection. That is the deal. But a lot of
Hmm.
companies are extremely smart. I'll give you the
Hmm.
example. Chemical company, which is my client, who had
Hmm.
created a anti-corruption
Hello. We lost you, Kunal. I request the viewers to please wait a while. We will just ensure Kunal rejoins. Meanwhile, you all have understood that intellectual property is surely the new oil in the wing, and start formulating your ideas. And like he very correctly mentioned, your ideas have to be useful. They have to be something different. It can be bought or sold, right? So please start structuring your ideas. And like he also mentioned, please use the old school method. Write it on a paper, and keep it safe, because you just don't want somebody else to take it away from you. Yes, Kunal, are we having you on? Thank you guys for the question. I'll just say a thank you meanwhile to all our viewers who have joined in.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We can. Thank you for joining back. I'll take a few more. I'll just wish the viewers a thank you. Um, Supriya Naik Prabhu says, wonderful examples which makes it easy to understand. Thank you. We have got Nitin Munot and Nitin Poddar both saying congratulations and thank you. You are amazing. Pratik Surana too, amazing innovation. Good session. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Devika Naik, for always being there with us. Thank you, Dr. Suhani Mendonca. She says super examples, Kunal. I invite more questions from the viewers. Uh, cool. Thank you, Sanraj Ahir Rao, for joining us. And yes, please, maybe take the question we were just taking up
Yeah.
earlier. The question from Arjuna Shivangi. Yes.
So as I was saying, he said add some zinc and bauxite to the application. He got very angry. The engineer, he said zinc and bauxite have nothing to do with the utility of this spray. At that moment, the managing director said that you know that it has no utility.
One minute, 1 minute. I think we may have lost the connection. Okay, so if you can please start from the beginning, please, please.
Okay. So I said one of my clients is a chemicals company, and they created an anti-corrosion spray. A spray, if you do it, it will not catch rust basically. We were wanting to file a patent for this technology, the formula. When we went to the managing director for a sign off, he said add some zinc and bauxite to this application and then file. He got very angry. The engineer got very angry. He said zinc and bauxite have no utility in this application. At that moment, the managing director said that you know that it has no application. I know that it has no application. Kunal knows it, but the competitor does not know it. So basically, what he did was he added things that once disclosed in the market, even though he has a patent, he has disclosed without disclosing. So, if you're a very good inventor, you will write your application in such a way that you disclose and not disclose at the same time. So, there is actually a code that is not very good, but it says that your disclosure should be like that woman's dress, which conceals the important things but reveals enough to generate interest.
So this is like डॉन का डायलॉग. आपको पता है ये बंदूक खाली है, मुझको पता है ये बंदूक खाली है, लेकिन पुलिस को नहीं पता है. So this is crazy. But for example, does it so happen that you protect something for X number of years and then it becomes a public domain by default? Is there something like this?
Yes. So as soon as your patent, copyright, trademark expires, it naturally falls in the public domain. Even if you fail to renew it on the right time, your competitors are sitting with their mouse on renew button at 12 at night just to click if you fail. So you have to take your renewal very seriously. And once it's expired, anybody can use it. So if you notice, there are so many technologies which were exploited only by a few companies, like the powertrain technology or some other. Once it's opened in the market, then everybody starts using
it. Is there some grace period allowed before you renew it?
No. So the grace period is allowed before it expires. For example, your patent is expiring in January 2021. They allow you to renew it from 1st of January onwards.
Okay. Do we get a notification or we have to pay attention and we alert ourselves?
Pay attention.
We have to pay attention. There is no notification which comes from the authorities.
No, we will send you a notification if we have done it, but authorities don't bother.
Oh, that is very mean actually. Okay, okay. Crazy. Okay, we will take some more questions from the viewers because we are having plenty of questions today. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Kunal. We have a comment saying from APS Usher, so true, when he said there are investors ready to invest but lack the idea to invest on and vice versa. Thank you, thank you, thank you. May I continue with a few more questions, Kunal?
Yes, please.
Okay. Now I want to understand Okay. A question from Sudha Narayan once again. I'm now a resident in Dublin past 3 years. So she's abroad since 3 years and she's still an Indian citizen. Where do I register my idea?
So this is an interesting question because imagine I'm an author and I write one chapter in one country and then move to
Hmm.
another country and write. Or if a
Hmm.
baby is delivered mid-flight, which citizenship will the baby have? So these are all great
Hmm.
questions that come in law. Intellectual property actually is pretty open. As an inventor, you can specify where your origin of work is. So it's
Hmm.
up to you. But of course, if you are an inventor where you have created your invention here, and in the
Hmm.
hearings before the invention is granted to you, they will ask you
Hmm.
where did you do your testing, where did you source your material from, where did you do your beta, alpha, all of that. So based on
Hmm.
that, your jurisdiction is determined. So in her case, if she writes a book while being in Dublin, for example, she can register it there. Her citizenship will not come as an interference.
Oh, that is good to know because we have a question from Dr. Suhani. She is asking registering similar ideas in different regions with different names. Possible?
Possible. That's a very famous strategy. For I'll give you one
Hmm.
example.
Hmm.
Starbucks wanted to get into tea also. It's a
Hmm.
pure coffee.
Hmm.
What they did was they started a company called Fifth Avenue Tea.
Hmm.
Started this Fifth or 15th Avenue, I'm not sure. They
Hmm.
started this because just in case it does not work, their actual brand name should not get affected.
Oh.
So a lot of
Oh.
people try out their same business idea in different industries under different names. Once that is popular, then they bring it back to the original name.
That's very smart. That's very smart. Okay. Okay. A question from me again. That you mentioned that there is something called as a provisional, copyright or protection. Is it available for international also? And if it is not available, then is there a very large difference in fee for national protection and international protection?
Yeah, now the fees, on an average, people
Hmm.
get really scared when it comes to IP. But the fee
Right.
ranges from as low as 10,000 and goes up to 3 5 lakhs for a patent. So the actual
Okay.
government fee is not much. The fee is basically
Hmm.
of the lawyers who are drafting it, and this has to be a
Hmm.
techno-legal document. So the lawyer has to
Hmm.
collaborate with a civil engineer or a software
Hmm.
developer or a IIT
Hmm.
professor, blockchain expert. So
Hmm.
that is what it becomes extra. There are a lot of expert minds going into an application, which
Hmm.
which the cost increasing. And like you rightly said, if you have an Indian patent granted and you want to go from
Hmm.
country to country after that, your fees will increase because you have to pay the fees in every country. So therefore, and the other different countries
Okay.
have conversion rates. So yeah, that is why it increases. But thankfully, we have a very easy calculator that if you tell that I want to register it in 12 countries, I can give you the code for the
Hmm.
12 countries.
Whoa. Okay, that's amazing. One more question from Mr. Anil Garg. If I am getting something custom built by a third party, how do I protect my IPR? This happens very commonly in case of custom built software.
Correct. Now, the problem with out giving it to a service provider who's not your employee is that whatever
Hmm.
he creates is his ownership.
Hmm.
Whereas if your employee does it, whatever the employee creates is your ownership. There is a big
Hmm.
difference here. It's a difference of contract of service and contract for service. So that the
Hmm.
development firm that you have hired is basically the
Hmm.
author of the idea. So when you do a contract with them, it's very important that you put a clause which says that whatever you are creating, it is for me. Whatever you're
Hmm.
creating is my IP ownership. And the source
Hmm.
code you create of the software, that source code needs to be handed over to you physically. If you don't take the
Oh.
and if you just take the delivery of the mobile application, they can use the same source code and use it to create multiple applications. So that's a very good question asked that if you're giving it outside, you have to do these extra formalities.
Okay. Okay. I
And
hope you
one
have.
one point
Yes.
here. For being original when it comes to software, there are a couple of conditions. One,
Hmm.
there cannot be use of open source free software. Two,
Hmm.
there cannot be use of existing APKs and libraries. And three,
Hmm.
it has to be coded from scratch. The number
Hmm.
and four, I would say now a single software tool cannot be made on one single software language like Java or C++. It's a mixture of Python, mixture of React Native, so many technologies. So the more technologies you use, the stronger the code becomes. So do not use open source software and do not take template softwares, existing registers, because the software catches it and it will tell you
Hmm.
that your originality is not even 20%.
Ah. So how much has to be the originality? Like you, since you mentioned the percentage,
More than 75.
does it differ from country to country?
Yes. In the US, you need to be 97.5% original. Same for Europe.
97.5% original. And in India, it is?
75. The logic is the
Ah.
2.5% tolerance that is allowed in these countries when we copied their laws. So we were a colony of the British. So older laws
Hmm.
we have copied from the British, and the new
Hmm.
laws, contemporary laws, we have taken from the US. When we copied the patent law, we forgot to put the point between 2 and 5. And that is why India allows for 25%.
Oh God. Oh, that's a major error. Oh God, that is too bad. That's too sad. But I think it's an advantage to quite a few people here. Quite a few people should definitely take advantage. Like you mentioned, that you need to be 75% original. Just trying to understand whether we as a nation, okay, we have a very large population and we have a very smart population, but I think we don't have the culture to actually have ideas, work on it systematically and to protect it. So how can we create a culture of nurturing and flourishing ideas?
That's a very long-term based solution of creating a
Hmm.
culture. Because if you look
Hmm.
at the most innovative countries, it is not US or Japan or Germany. It is not the countries which are economically very powerful. It is the
Hmm.
countries which are culturally very powerful. So if the number
Hmm.
one most innovative country is Switzerland, followed
Hmm.
by Denmark, followed by Finland. So these are not rich countries. Followed by
Hmm.
Israel, for example. These are not rich, but they are rich when it comes to what they focus on. To give you an example,
Hmm.
in Switzerland, if you're a good citizen, so basically laws are all strict laws. If you
Hmm.
don't do, we will punish you. All the laws are like that. But in
Hmm.
Switzerland, there are carrot laws, which says that if you're a good citizen, we will give you a monthly stipend so that you focus on creating problem solving products rather than thinking about, oh, how will I pay rent, how will I pay my school fees. All of that is not there, and therefore most of the population is engaged in problem solving, and that is why
Hmm.
most Nobel laureates are also created out of these countries, not economically advanced countries. So in India, we have a very good. India is innovative out of necessity. We have a lot of frugal
Hmm.
innovations. If you see the
Hmm.
minty, for example, it was created by Mr. Prajapati because he did not have electricity in his house, did not have money to buy, so he created a fridge out of mitti, clay. And
Right.
now that
Right.
patent technology is a big guy now. So basically, what we lack is not innovative culture, but our innovative life cycle. We are like Nicole Tesla. We know to
Hmm.
innovate. We need to be like Thomas Edison, where we are able to take our innovation to the market by protecting it. So productizing your idea is a different skill set altogether. Just
Hmm.
coming up with one will not mean that you will be successful.
Hmm. So I think all the jugadus out there, it is a clear message that if you have a lot of ideas, ensure that you escalate it to a level where it reaches out and is useful to many, 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 many people, and always ensure that you protect it first. Uh, I think we are getting a lot of questions, and you have a session you mentioned very soon after this. So I would just like to get something, a feedback from the viewers. If you want Kunal to have a second session on IPR very, very soon, I will need minimum 10 yeses in the next 1 minute. I repeat, if you want Kunal to come in again for the next session on IPR, I request at least 10 yes, we want Kunal in the next 1 minute. Meanwhile, I will share something about our Swayambhu Senior coming up tomorrow. We are launching Swayambhu Senior on Sunday, that is tomorrow at 4 p.m. And we have our very own Swayambhu mentor, Mr. Anil Garg, who's going to be the host for the episode. And our first guest is Mr. Jwalant Swaroop. He is an ambassador of happiness and he wants to share and inspire everyone in the silver phase of their life. Like Mr. Gandhi had said, I may not quote him word to word, but he had mentioned that we need the young generation because they are agile and they are active and they work faster. But we also need the old and experienced because they know the way. So I think Swayambhu Senior rocks too, and I request all of you to please join in for Swayambhu Senior, which is going to be FB Live on the same page tomorrow at 4. So I'm looking for yeses and a response from viewers. I get 10 yeses. And Kunal, you have to promise me you'll be here during Diwali. Yes?
Sure, sure. Happy to come.
Okay. So I'll just go through the comment section. And that was wonderful. Just a last question I definitely asked would be what is your message to all the aspiring Swayambhus? You have been there from the very first thought of Swayambhu. In fact, you were the one who mentioned the tagline backbenchers to front runners. So that reminds me two questions. Kunal, were you a backbencher? First one. And an amendment is what is your message to all the aspiring Swayambhus out there?
All right. So I was one level behind the backbenchers. I was an outstanding student who was outside the class. And when when I shared this with my friends or when they see my journey, there is one thing very clear that your school success, your professional success, and your relationship success and your life success, these are all very independent. Nothing is correlated. So that's one, and that's I'm an example of that. And I think I live that quote: backbenchers to front runners. So we should never judge anybody based on one, factor of life. That's one. Number two, I always say this to everybody I meet that we are all here for a very specific time. It looks like we're going to live forever, but it's not the case. And when I look at inventors, I have so many examples. I'll share it the next time I come. All of them have created a product or a service or a song or a technology which is going to outlive them. And
Right.
whenever they're doing also, it is helping others passively. Both it is helping them from a monetary perspective. So I always, I recently lost a very good friend, Leo, in a car accident, and I feel that this is such a bright mind, but he did not create anything like that, and that really inspired me that I should go on talk shows like this, sort of immortalize this conversation forever, write books that immortalize that knowledge forever, create software applications, create an investment stock exchange which will keep benefiting people even after I am gone. So I want everybody to focus on creating their legacy other than their children, because their children will create different legacies. So do not give your legacy to children in inheritance. Just give them an upbringing. That would be my only thing. And let your ideas become Swayambhu. Let them have a life of their own as well. So that
Very, 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 very good, Kunal. I can add a lot of veries because I'm blessed to have Kunal as my son. So thank you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you viewers. So I was a backbencher. Kunal was a backbencher. And look where we are today. We are very proud of ourselves. So I request all of them who think that academics is the only way to go forward, please connect with us. We are here for you. Okay, we have lived that we have experienced that, and we would like to share our thoughts and wisdom and whatever guidelines we can from our side. Do mail us to swayambhu@gmail.com. We are having a lot of questions coming up. I don't know whether we have received more than 10 yeses because I couldn't see it. Rohit, if you can just comment whether we have received more than 10 yeses for Kunal session. Yes. Okay. So I received a 11th one from Rohit right now. So thank you. I'm sure, and I will ensure that Kunal is here for the next session again during Diwali. Let us have a Diwali dhamaka. Keep your paper and pen ready. Write down your ideas and write down your questions. And we are sure to meet Kunal once again. Thank you, guys. Was wonderful having you. Your participation was fantastic in terms of questions too. Kunal, we can't thank you enough.
Kasam,
Thank you, Kunal. And I would also like to thank Hangyo Ice Cream because they have been with us from point one, even before we started getting candid. So thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Pai. And God bless you all. And as always, have a fabulous weekend and Jai Hind.